AAC, please invite Jack to the AAC meeting to put his points in on this, then go through legal and bylaws, then bring it back to us in December. That's the most efficient way to do this. And, voting on this thing tonight, you've kind of cut AAC out of the complete program, and I don't think that's right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Two things. We can do that because Eagle Sport is gone, so we're not under the thumb. They had been here for years, and they're now off the property. We can take a month and do that. And AAC was written into our documents to protect the airport, and they have not been part of this process, and they should be. And I think they'll be in total. I know they're in total agreement, but it's got to be a good document. It should be vetted by the AAC. Our documents, they don't require it, but it should be. And I would like to see that also. But, have the AAC sign off on the document, and then we'll vote on it in December.
I just want to close with this one thing. 3 and 4 deal with enforcement. 3 says that Eagle Sport, it's a history paragraph that they came here in September, they didn't have their lease approved, and that they had their flying club that allowed invitees unconditional, unlimited access to the club. It's a statement of fact. The lease was never presented to the board. That's a statement of fact. And so if we want to live in a blind world and say just because some people in the community have relationships with Eagle Sport that they're going to get a pass, the point is if you don't let them know, which is a due process thing, if they don't get a copy of this and they're not on notice, they can just come back tomorrow. Then what are you going to do? Have another meeting in December, and then we'll have to deal with Eagle Sport in January, and then God forbid there's an accident, between now and then?
Eagle Sport's been gone. They're not here now.
And so they were violators. And so we just close our eyes to the violation, and we never let them know they were violators. Is that what this board wants to do? You have to give them notice. It's called due process. And if you don't have due process, and you don't draw a line in the sand, then you're going to have a selective enforcement problem going forward, because you've never done that and set a standard. And Paul's partially right. There's a lot of things that this community hasn't done with maintenance enforcement, with other types of enforcement, but you draw a line, a good board draws the line and says, we will not tolerate this conduct going forward. There's no punishment here for them. And then the last one just says that they get a copy of it. And it's okay.
I don't think anybody has got an argument with what you're saying about Eagle Sport, okay? But I don't think it belongs in this issue. It's as proper an issue as we have with let's not have drilling offshore of Florida with vaping. It has nothing to do with each other. Let's deal with the issue at hand, which is the visitors, and let's deal with the commercial issue in a separate document. I believe that would work.
Do we have any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Yes.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor of Jack's motion to accept and adopt the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You got that, Becky?
Let's make a resolution, Jack, without paragraph 3 and 4.
Which I was just going to do. So Dennis is proposing a resolution to adopt the proposed resolution without paragraphs 3 and 4 mentioning Eagle and precluding them from returning.
Procedurally, what is the issue here? We had a motion and a second and discussion and a vote.
Voted down.
Now the new motion.
New motion.
Very good. All in favor of the new motion as revised, signify. Aye.
All right, first and second. I'll second.
I'm sorry, yes. We got a first and a second.
Dennis's motion, seconded by John.
Got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Did you say what, Jeff?
Which way did you go, Jeff?
Very good.
He said aye.
Motion carries as revised. I want to make a comment here. This has been a contentious issue. It's been a passionate issue for a lot of folks here in Spruce Creek. the issues why it's passionate and contentious vary a little bit. But I want to make one thing very, very clear. If we have board members voting based on the argument and the personality and not based on the merits of the document, we're making a huge mistake. I want to remind this board that anger and insults are not part of this board. It just never has been, and it never will be moving forward. We just don't need that. So concentrate every effort in the merits to what we are looking at and being asked to vote on, and make your vote accordingly.
I'm sure that was not directed at me, because everything I did was factual based.
Jack, I'm not blaming anything on you. Okay, on to, let's see, discussion approval of Lake and Wetland Eagle Lake Canal clearing and grading. Diane?
Find my sheet here.
Basically, yeah,
That's it.
You doing okay?
Lake and wetland management
Wetland.
has a proposal put forth. They've seen the conditions of our major swales, ditches, canals, how you want to refer to them. And their suggestion is to keep the water flowing. And even though a little water flows, they said because of the obstructions in these areas, they have offered a proposal of $8,850 to come in and kill some of the vegetation that's in the canals. They've been using some machetes to clean up. They want to remove the trees that are down in the canals and basically clean it up, and so the water can flow unimpeded. And I'd like to make a proposal that we accept their proposal to clean up our canals.
There was a much higher number from somebody else.
Yes,
wasn't there?
back in the early spring, there was an offer from a company to clean them up for $39,900.
So this
That was
is,
the lake or the canal?
No, that was the canals.
that's basically 20% of that.
Yes. And they have been spraying some of the areas to kill the elephant ears, and the spray's taking care of that, but there are trees down behind Eagle Lake and some of our other canals. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
You with us, Jeff? Aye.
It's up.
We have a proposal for the Southgate entrance modification. Diane, you're still up.
Okay. I have been Randy and I have been working with Mir, and we've also contacted Bruce Moya from Melbourne. And I have a drawing. I do not have an amount for this proposal. The picture that I have here that none of you have, we would be taking the end post and the half wall with the fencing above it back to the monument, and that's approximately 12 feet, to open a lane specifically for the RFID lane, and coming out from Airport Road in either direction, that you would have access to get in. Now, if board decides to pursue this, but before I spend more time, I want to know that the board wants us to pursue it. Amir was hoping to have an amount for this, but because there is a restriction out there, and we won't know until we dig it up, it's a manhole, as to what that manhole is for and the strength of it. And if it's not strong enough for cars, it will have to be modified. And that's why he wasn't giving us a price, an estimate on what it would cost. But does this board want me to pursue it? I have, as you have, the drawing of the 2 lanes coming in. And it's opening up about 12 feet on the monument. Not the monument, but the fencing there, the concrete wall.
The purpose of this, of course, is to is to prevent RFID holders from having to sit at the back gate because of the contractors coming in. This has been a big issue for a lot of years, and we're just kind of getting out of the gate on this thing. How much money have we spent with Amir at this point to do the engineering?
$4,000.
Okay. But they still don't have a price on what this will cost, or even a rough guess.
No, as of yesterday, or Friday morning, he had the drawing, but he said he had not been able to come up with a cost. And he wanted to know if we wanted to pursue it. And I said, the only thing I can do is take it to the board and ask if you want to pursue the estimates on this.
Well, since we spent the $4,000 with that concept in mind, I guess we better think about doing this.
One more.
Dennis?
Is this going to include a modification to the security at that gate? Meaning we're going to have to change those gates?
No,
Well, we should have them include that so we have a complete price of everything that's going to be.
that would be part of the price, yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. There being no more discussion, all in favor?
Go for it.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff. Motion carries. The final approval of the 2019 POA budget. This board approved that budget in draft form. It finally comes back to us now for the formal approval. Has there been any changes to this budget, Alan? Randy? No. I make the motion that we accept the budget as written.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
I'm opposed. For the record, I was opposed only on the issue of increasing the assessment to the community by
Right, I think that was part of your draft deal, too. Okay, we have several new volunteers who would like to join Public Works and Children's Rec and Legal and Bylaws. Rather than go through each one of these, I'd like to ask the board to consider looking at them and voting on their appointment in total, so that we don't have to work through each and every one of them. Have you all had a chance to read their resumes and that sort of thing? Find them extremely overqualified for the kind of job that they're getting?
Sure, your name is resident.
Yes, yes.
Well, any of them here.
Are any of the volunteers here
I
tonight?
believe Walter's here.
Ah, yes, sir.
That's Walter. Stand up, please.
So one more hand back there.
Very good. Well, first off, we want to thank you all for volunteering. We rely heavily on our volunteers.
Sherry's back there on the back row.
Sherry's back there somewhere. We're really excited about having Sherry here, as well as Walter and Drew. This is what Spruce Creek is. It's all because you guys do this stuff. We sit up here and we argue back and forth about points of order and the ridiculousness of some of the language that you have to listen to here. This is precisely why my wife is not here, because she gets bored to tears with this sort of thing. But the fact is that we couldn't do this without you. And so I make the motion that we accept. No, I'm okay, thanks. I get the motion we accept Walter and Sherry and Drew for their respective committees.
I'll second that.
We got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff, for calling in. I know you're somewhere.
Hey, Jeff, you'll be in Sydney in 18 hours.
18 hours I'll be there, no problem. Well, thanks for putting me on those lines. I appreciate it.
You bet.
I haven't spent much, so that's all that's the whole time.
Okay.
It was a bargain. Thank you.
Okay. See you, Jeff. Having completed our business, unfinished and new business, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you.
At 1:45 in the morning, he starts off for Sydney. I flew that trip.